Hello, this is Pam. Today we're going to be talking about how to get your family involved in a new approach, in a more natural approach to healthcare, especially for those of us that have been living with chronic disease. If we haven't met yet, my name is Pam Bartha, and I'm the author of Become a Wellness Champion and the founder of Live Disease Free. And I just want to make sure, yes, you guys can hear me, super. So today the topic is, let's say that whether we're coming down with chronic disease or maybe we're just deciding to take a more natural approach to healthcare, to living our life, how do we get our family members on board? And honestly, this is such an important topic because I learned the hard way. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 29 years ago, but I've beat MS and I've lived MS-free for the past 29 years. And so this is a very near and dear topic to me because I do have a family, and it was so important for me to, number one, recover, but then for me to make sure my family doesn't hit the brick wall like I did. And so for many of you, it's the same thing. So what I want to first say is that maybe you're dealing with chronic disease and you have found through the Live Disease Free system, through the Live Disease Free Academy, or maybe you're working with some other wonderful program or practitioner and you've learned that there is hope for you and you can take back your health and life. So the key is that when we have a family, we first of all have to understand that what I learned early on is, number one, focus on getting yourself well. Everything that I share is just extras and icing on the cake, but really the focus is you. You have to focus on getting yourself well. And the reason is that it takes time. It takes time for your family members to come on board. Some of them will be more interested and some of them won't. So some of them you'll be planting seeds. So we're going to talk about the different aspects of that today. So the first step in getting your family to adopt a more natural approach to kind of follow in your lead is you have to be a role model. And this is where you're going to focus on yourself. And thank you for all the love and hearts. And so if you guys can relate to what I'm talking about, please interact with me, thumbs up, hearts, etc. And please share this with other people. Thank you, that you know that they are searching for not just ways to get better, but also their family. They want their family to take a different approach than what is standard in not just North America, but any of these developed countries that we live in. So being a role model is really important because your family, your spouse, your partner, your children, they're watching you. Are you living it? And are you living it with joy? Or are you living it like, oh, you know, I'm suffering and I'm giving this up and I don't like it? Obviously, if you're suffering negatively and you're showing that, then they're not going to be attracted to it. So the first thing is you have to show that you're positive about this, that you're excited about this, and you have to live it. So for myself, since I was diagnosed with MS and as I learned how to properly eat to support treating the infections that are causing disease, but as I followed that eating plan, I have been diligent, and my children see that. When it's my birthday, I don't eat birthday cake, and it doesn't bother me. And it's been so many years, like 29 years, that we have other traditions. We have a really good meal, we get together, we have fun, and the key is relationship over food, right? And as long as you're filled and you have lots of energy and you're satisfied, that's what counts. So how are you living your life? Number one, are you following the healthy eating plan, the Live Disease Free eating plan? What is your activity like? What are your lifestyle choices like? They're watching you. So the first thing is to be a role model because you are the example for them. And trust me, even though not a lot of words are said about this, you will leave a huge impact on them. And that's the first thing. Number two is planting seeds. So with our spouses and our partners and our children, depending on how old they are, some of our kids are really tiny and some of them are teenagers or adolescents. So it takes time because they're bombarded with advertisements and basically a lot of media showing, you know, what is the latest food, and we have fast foods all around us. So our whole culture is built on convenience and fast foods and pleasures and satisfying your taste buds. And so you have to start to plant seeds. This is something that should be taught in schools. It really should be. learning how to be the director of your health is one of the most important skills that you can teach your family, your loved ones, whether it's your husband, partner, spouse, wife, children, etc. Teaching them how to take charge of their health. And they will appreciate it a lot more if you're just planting little seeds all the time. So it might be at supper time that you just give them a nugget. It's here or there in the opportune times, things you're learning, and put a positive spin on it. And you know what I heard? I heard, you know, that that kiwis have more vitamin C than most fruits, and what vitamin C is, it's important for your bone health, etc. And carrots are so important for your eyes. So with my grandchildren right now that are 4 and 2 years old, I'm telling them about, you know, when you eat this protein, it's making your muscles strong. And when you eat this carrot, it's making your eyes so that you can see really well. And it just depends on the age how you're sharing the information. And so the key is we're planting seeds throughout their life, and we're starting with little baby steps when they're very tiny, but then as they get older and older, they can handle more detailed information. And so this is where we have to teach them how to live in this world. So we have to teach them that nutrition is the food that makes our bodies run properly, and that we can't get nutrition in fast food. And we also have to teach them how to live in this world with the environment the way that it is. Our young teenagers, etc., they're living on the phone, and it is so bad for them. They have to understand that there is this invisible radiation, that this wireless network that of radiation, RF radiation, and our bodies are being bathed in it. And also different heavy metals and toxins in the environment, and things like glyphosate. So we have to teach them little bits, not all the time, not being negative all the time, but just helping them to understand. And sometimes they'll kind of look at you and then they'll go off and do something else, and you'll think, well, they didn't even take it in, but they do. And it's a little bit here and a little bit there. And over time, it makes such a difference. So they have to know about the environment. It's very different today than it was 50 years ago. They have to know about nutrition, as I mentioned. They also have to know it's important to be active, and we sort of know that already, but help them to develop their passions, things that they really love to do as far as activity, whether it's group sports, whether it's independent sports, whatever it is. Help them to develop their passions in activity. So again, the environment and being active, living a healthy lifestyle, helping them to even understand how important it is to get sunshine, even a half an hour a day to build up the vitamin D, and how important that is for your bone health and for your immune function. It's these little things, and they are so important, because if we would have known this, we would have never come down with chronic disease, or we would have never had to suffer with poor health like we have. And also activity, sunshine. Let's see if there was anything else. I think that was it. So the key is that planting seeds, not giving them a big lecture, but, you know, did you know that there's more research coming out showing that they're finding in the center of tumors, they're finding the immature forms of worms, right? And so the one thing that I wanted to share with you that's so important is to teach them about the microbes that live in their body, right? Because that is something that is the most heavily researched field topic in the world today. And yet we're not really talking about it in the schools. And so our children don't understand that when we take a lot of antibiotics and we eat a lot of sugars, that we're feeding a lot of the bad microbes that are giving us acne, stomach aches, constipation, allergies, all of those different things. So get your kids starting to think about, like, oh, mom said when I have, you know, this breakout that it's much more, something's going on inside of my digestive tract. And yeah, I've been eating a lot of junk lately and I better back off. They listen, trust me, they listen. I have 3 children, and when I was diagnosed with MS, my 2 oldest ones were 3 and 2 years old. So I've had many, many years of practicing this with them. And they live very different lives than a lot of people their age, in their age group, which is really cool. So you have such an important role in educating them in these topics, as I mentioned, because they're not going to get it from anyone else. This is your opportunity to leave a legacy. So for myself, it was to teach my children, and now they're getting married, and now I have grandchildren, and so now they know how to take care of my grandchildren in this world that we live in today. So that is super important. is planting seeds. The next thing I wanted to share with you is having your children connected to their food. So having them see, like, garden, take them to farms, local farms. We have local farms where we live, where they're growing the produce, and let them see how their lettuce grows in the dirt, and their spinach and their carrots. If possible, have a small garden or have a planter. Maybe you've got a condo or you're living in an apartment, but maybe have a planter where you could put a few herbs or a strawberry plant or something, so that they can see that their food actually grows, because kids are so disconnected. They just go to the store, they pick up their chips and their pop and their cookies and their granola bars, and they don't really understand where food comes from. So have them connected. And if at all possible, take them to any kind of farm where there's animals, etc. It's so good for them. And giving them the opportunity to grow something is really fun, and it's really educational, and it's so important. So you want to connect them with the food. And then get them involved in preparing food and also purchasing food. So have them come with you, have them, this is of course is age dependent, have them come to the grocery store and show them, you know, when you buy watermelon, I always knock on it, and if it sounds really hollow, that sounds like it's ripe. Or helping them to see. And yes, if they're very, very tiny, you're not going to, but as they're getting older, help them to understand when produce is ripe and when it is good to purchase and when it is not healthy to purchase. Also have them, when they get older, reading labels. Let them see the sugar content in different soft drinks and in juices and in even granola bars and these meal replacement bars. Help them to understand that when they're eating this little bar, they're getting 3 tablespoons of sugar, the same amount as a bottle of pop. A lot of kids, they don't understand that, because they're told on the wrap package that it's got, you know, oatmeal and it's got nuts and it's got this and that, but they don't talk about the sugar. Have them start to understand, like, preservatives and how important it is to read the back of the labels. All of this, the little tiny things, and if you take them shopping with you, it's a time for you to bond. So this is all about not just teaching them that, but building that relationship with them also. So important, because we're all so busy these days, right? Life is so crazy. So go ahead and type your questions in. Share with me some of the things you're doing with your children or your loved ones. And with our spouses and partners, this is where you can't beat them over the head, right? You have to be positive and you have to encourage versus nag. I totally get that. My husband, when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, he wasn't sick. And first of all, I didn't really know how to eat healthy, so I learned that over a few years, but he didn't follow me 100%, and I didn't expect him to. I really focused on myself getting well, and I did start to provide healthy options in the meals because I was preparing all the meals. So the key is to start low and slow, to bring in healthy options. So it's not like you're taking away their favorite foods, but you're adding in healthy options. And making sure that you have your fridge stocked is really important, so that there's lots of snacks, healthy snacks that they can grab, or even leftovers. So maybe your child gets up, your teenager child gets up, and they don't really want to have eggs, etc., but they want to have leftovers from supper. But having the healthy food on hand. So it really boils down to having food that tastes really good, taking their meals that they love to eat, but maybe making some modifications and adjustments so that it's gluten-free, or decreasing the processed carbs. And even things like, if they're eating rice, white rice, you can make some brown and some white and mix it 50-50 for starters, and then work your way into the whole grain. For those of us that are recovering from chronic disease, we do avoid the grains, but we don't necessarily, our whole family doesn't have to follow that. So what you can do is you can just start to bring in a little bit of extra healthy, different options. Really important. So number one, getting our children connected with food, helping them to see how important it is, because right now there's a huge disconnect. And many of us are deficient because of the infections that we have, but also because we're living on so many processed foods. So those are some really important things to do. And remember that it shouldn't be a dramatic change, because if you completely cut them off of everything they love to eat, they will rebel, right? And they're going to resist. So making sure that you are changing one thing out at a time. And remember, you're teaching them. You're saying, we're not going to drink this juice anymore, because this juice is like 3 tablespoons of sugar or 5 tablespoons of sugar per cup and a half. And that's going to give you acne, and that's going to give you a stomach ache and make you constipated. And that's going to feed fungus in your body. And this is what fungus does. So again, it's just the little seeds you're planting and also helping to make one change at a time. All right, so I think the last thing that I wanted to share that's really important is patience and persistence. Just understanding that this is not going to happen overnight. It isn't. And it didn't with it took my husband, honestly. He's in his 50s now, so he's now getting more strict. He would eat healthy in front of us with our meals, but he doesn't always pick the healthiest options when he's not with us. And of course, that sweet tooth, right? That bothers us. But as we're getting older and as you plant the seeds, he has adopted more and more. And I'd have to say he eats a lot healthier than the vast majority of people our age, which is so exciting. And so this is where you have to have persistence and patience and be positive and encourage and plant seeds. And just remember that this, if you're a parent and a spouse, partner, this is one of the most important things you can teach your loved ones and share with them. This is what it's about, being a wellness champion, because this is the only way that we're going to change this horrible epidemic of sickness in our children, which is the learning and behavioral disorders, the cancer, the autoimmune, but also the chronic disease in adults. It's all epidemic, and people are suffering so terribly. And so really the key is that you are the wellness champions. You have to take this role on to take back your health. And at first you may get resistance, right? A lot of our loved ones, they may have a different belief system than you. So they love you tremendously, but they might feel that the standard of care, the medical approach, the drug approach is the best for you. And you know in your heart, you've looked at all the options and that is not what you want. So then you have to go, I see all the thumbs up and hearts, you guys can relate to it. So then you have to follow your gut. You have to follow what makes sense, absolutely. And you have to do what's right for you, all right? And then once you do, and you start to be that role model and you start to improve, your family will be shocked. So for my family, 29 years of me being MS-free, that's pretty amazing. And now we have so many wellness champions that are recovering from chronic disease also. And it's not just multiple sclerosis. I forgot to get this. Next time that we're together, I'll have the successes. But we just had some amazing successes. We've got students right now in the program with Parkinson's and PLS and MS and all kinds of different conditions, all improving tremendously, even just by starting to change their diet, their eating plan, and then supporting their body. Thanks for all the love. I really appreciate it. As we're going through here, you guys share with me some of the things that maybe you have done with your loved ones, changes that you've made. But again, the key is that it's your life. You're only going to live one life, so you have to do what's right for you. And then as you start to recover and you want this for your family, then you follow the steps that I shared in this video. So if you are at a place in your life where you're like, Pam, this makes so much sense. I have been looking for an answer. I have almost run out of hope. I've tried so many things. I've spent thousands of dollars on my health and I'm still sick. Then make sure to watch my masterclass training. It's going to be posted to the side, to the bottom of this video. And you can actually watch the training that I have and understand why you're not getting well, what you are not doing, what you're missing. And it's not hard. It's just, and again, as you become a wellness champion, and if you decide to watch my masterclass training and join us, you can be a wellness champion. You can also stop the disease and have a ton of recovery and enjoy your best life. But the key is you have to take a different path. You have to follow your gut and you have to take a natural approach and treating the cause is so important, and that's what we do in the Live Disease-Free system, is treating the cause of your symptoms, which are nutritional deficiencies, but also toxins and infections. And infections are the biggest cause of your symptoms. And these infections cause nutritional deficiencies, but also our food will also. And these infections are the biggest cause of the toxins in your body. So as you treat the infections, the inflammation goes down, our symptoms start to subside, and we start to feel better and better and better. And it's a very exciting time because there's so much research and so much information that I didn't have 29 years ago about which types of infections we're dealing with, very largely parasitic and fungal, and possible Lyme disease infections. But the key is that there are so many people recovering right now, and you can too. So watch my masterclass training if you're at that place. I'm going to go to questions right now. Just say hello to a few people here. Hello, Troy and Jill. Hi, Margina and Susan. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Deidre. Hi, Valerie. Allison, hi. Jenny, hello. Hi, Marissa. Janae. You were diagnosed with MS 22 years ago, and you don't have anyone besides your kids and your aunt. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. The key is, Janae, is that if you want to recover, your health is your responsibility, and you have to start to make changes, and you can make lots of changes right now. So number one, I have tons of free videos on Live Disease Free Facebook and YouTube channel, so you can watch them, you can start implementing, and that's what people do. They find me, they start watching, I talk about what I eat, what you should avoid, how you should support yourself. And then it comes down to treating the infections. And when you treat the infections, you have to get help. So you're the only one who can change things. You can't rely on your kids. You can't rely on your aunt. You have to. There's lots of people out there that will support you. You have to find the way. Thank you for all the love. Hi, Alexander. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Anthony. Yes, you will overcome it, but you have to do the right things. You have to treat the infections. If you don't treat the infections, you won't overcome it. Hi, Rudy. Hi, Gia. Hi, Lisa. Unhealthy foods. So yes, unhealthy foods, the processed foods, the sugars, they feed the infections. That is the most important food for them. All right. Hi, Marissa. So this is really cool. Marissa has shared that her husband, her children, her sister, and her family, her mom, her dad, they've all adopted this new way of eating. So Marissa is a wellness champion, which is so cool. And she has influenced many, many of her loved ones. You're so grateful that they decided to take control of their health. And again, this is the only way things are going to change. Absolutely. That is amazing, Marissa. I'm so proud of you. And that is what a lot of people have shared. They'll start in the program. I remember Terry Kiley. She's somebody that was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Her mom died of MS, and then 5 years later, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. You can actually watch her success video where she shares all of this on livediseasefree.com on the website. You'll see all the successes there. And for her, when she actually in 90 days, she was able to come off of all the MS medications, which were 3 of them, she was able to start walking again. She had been 7 or 8 years in a scooter, and she was able to start walking again. Her daughter was pregnant, and so her daughter, as she was getting better, her husband followed her on the journey. He lost something like 75 pounds. He was able to get back into his navy whites. And then her daughter was pregnant, and so she was able to really help her daughter to eat healthy, and then to help with the granddaughters with changing like planting the seeds, right? Just like I do with my kids. Another one I wanted to share is another student. Her husband joined because he was diagnosed with MS, but they also had a small child who had severe neurological disease and epilepsy, a lot of health challenges. But a lot of children that are really sick, they crave the foods that make them sick, and they scream when they don't get the foods that they want. But she decided to put her son on the same following the same eating plan and supporting the body as the family did. And her son no longer had any more seizures, which is crazy. And it was really cute because he hated vegetables. So what she did, and this is something you can do if you have children, is that to get them encouraged to eat things like broccoli, which they're not maybe not used to and might not like, is sometimes you can have dips. They love dips. So whether it's a homemade guacamole, if it's really like where they're really adamant, she started with an organic ketchup, just a tiny little bit, and just let her little guy dip the ketchup or the broccoli into the ketchup. And after a while, he started getting used to the broccoli, and then she made a video of him saying, "Mom, can I have some more broccoli?" And then he said, "I thank you, Pam. I love broccoli now." So it was all on a recorded video, which was really cute. So again, she used a tiny bit of organic ketchup, which has a lot of sugar, but she got him to start getting used to different vegetables. And then after, she weaned him off. What I used to do with my kids when they were really little and getting them to eat, I didn't buy the baby food, but I would take chicken and I would puree it and freeze it in ice cubes, and beef and vegetables, etc. But some of the vegetables and meat, they don't really like the taste of, so I used to put a little bit of applesauce at the front. So there's all these little things that you can do, and it's really important to understand with children that it takes several, and adults, it takes several exposures to foods before their taste buds start to change. We have this all the time in the program. I'll have, let's say, a young 20-some-year-old student who's sick, which is awful at that age. And they're like, "I hate vegetables, I hate salads." And then within a month's time, they are loving it and they're craving vegetables. And they're just it's a huge change. So the key is that your taste buds will change, your children's taste buds will change, your husband's. Again, just making small changes, bringing healthy foods and letting them appreciate different flavors, keeping it positive, keeping it light, low and slow at the beginning, and you'll find that they'll come around. And again, with spouses and family members that are not on board with this whole holistic different approach where we're treating infections, really give them a little bit of the research. I'm sharing things all the time on YouTube. Make sure to give that to them, share them. Like Pam's just shared a study today where they're finding like some people that have back pain, no injury from, let's say, an accident, but they just have sore backs, that they're accidentally finding worms in the bone marrow and they're treating it and the people's back pain is going away, and they'll go, "Oh, that's weird." And then maybe in 3 or 4 days you share something different. So the key is you're just planting little seeds. It works, trust me, it works. Hi Julia, hi Mary, hi Sue, hi Allie. Yes, fast foods, stay away from them, Janae, they're terrible. Wendy, hi Dee Dee, hello. Hi, Lisa. Anitra, hello. Lisa. Hi, Marie. Not a lot of comments. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Allison. You try to set a good example, but the bottom line is I have to enjoy my best life. And that's what we all have to say. And that reminds me, Allison, of you, but also of Troy. I love Troy dearly. He's one of our students. And he's just one example. He has a beautiful family. It's the same with some of my family members. To this day, I'm 29 years free of MS. And some of my family members don't necessarily have the same beliefs with healthcare, but that's okay. I love them, they love me. We accept each other for our differences. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to share too is that mealtime. Mealtime is so important. Take time, if you have family at home, even with your partners or your spouses, put away the phones, turn off the TV, and spend time talking to each other. Build relationship. Have home-cooked food, meals. That's what we do in the Live Disease-Free program. Obviously, everything is home-cooked. But this is a time to build relationships. And right now, life is so crazy. It's so easy to not connect with people. And that is part of happiness. Happiness is also building relationships and connecting with our loved ones. Lisa, yes, it is so worth it. Hi, Sue. Hi, Allison. Great advice. Yes, Kelly. Hi, Maureen. No support is difficult, but I do realize that it starts with me. That's very wise. And again, when you join something like the Live Disease Free Academy, then you'll find that there is this network of like-minded people, and it is really nice to connect with them. I do love the MS Society. I love all the people, but it just is pretty negative sometimes. It's almost like a pity party. So you have to connect with people that are like-minded on the same journey, and that's what we do with the Wellness Champions, and you'll love the Wellness Champions. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Debbie. Hello, Joseph. Okay, hi, Rose. My son has MS and he tries his best. So Rose, this is where you can plant seeds for your son. So you can help him to see, have you heard of Pam Bartha before? Have you watched her videos? Did you know that it looks like that MS is caused by, for sure, infections, but looks like parasites and fungus and possibly Lyme disease, and there's lots of people recovering. Go watch her videos. So Rose, you can plant seeds for your son to take a different path, to treat the cause so he can get on with his life. Hello, Debbie. Hi, Lorianne. Hi, Danielle. So this, Janae, I just wanted to quickly mention, you shared you wish you could walk again. And the key is that I can never promise that people will walk again when they treat the infections, but the exciting news is that we're seeing so many people that have had advanced disability with multiple sclerosis where they honestly thought they could never walk again, and they are. So what that tells me is that some of the mobility, inflammation, and disability that we're dealing with is not permanent damage to the nerve, because we don't know how to turn that around yet. And because we know very little about the cause in the standard of care, what the true cause of multiple sclerosis is, the key is that there is a lot of hope that you will have a lot more recovery than you thought possible. But you have to find the way, and there are ways, but you have to do that. No one else can do that for you. Hello, Jeff. So, Serapha, which video do you need to watch? Okay, that one it is. Let me just see if I can, I'm gonna try this here because I'm on my own today. I stuck it in the feed right now. Hopefully you will see it. It's at towards the bottom or towards the top. And it is watch Pam's free training. So if you're at the place where you want a step-by-step plan, you want to be a wellness champion, you want to treat these infections, watch my free training, because I talk about why you're dealing with these symptoms. We share a lot of case studies of people that have recovered, and then how you can also join, and it's a course. And you can follow the course, you can go through the steps, you learn how to be the director of your health, and you learn how to treat these infections yourself. Thank you for your kind words, Debbie. Hi, Sue. Do I recommend raw grass-fed butter over ghee? Again, if you would like to do raw grass-fed butter, any grass-fed beef or butter is better than conventional, absolutely. But the difference between just butter or ghee is you're removing the milk, the milk protein and the lactose, etc., which is very minimal in butter, but it can still be helpful. So that's the key, is that if you would like to remove it, we do go off of all other dairy. It seems that most students can tolerate butter, but if you want to be like extra super careful, you can melt, even just lightly melt the grass-fed butter, and you'll notice that it'll separate from the milk, and you can just take off the fat. And that's what the ghee is just the fat. And yes, grass-fed butter is definitely better than conventional butter. Not all of us can get it, so it's not mandatory to recover, but it's nice if you can get it. So Katherine, you just found out that your MRI is active again. And 19, I'm so sorry to hear that. So Katherine, it is really good to follow the eating plan, the Live Disease-Free eating plan, absolutely, because you're decreasing the food to those infections. But truly, to recover, you have to treat the infection. So my students are going on antiparasitic medications, working with practitioners, and antifungal drugs, and they're doing cycles, like 4 to 6 to 12 cycles of treatment. That's how they're recovering. We find that the herbs by themselves are just not strong enough. So that is the key. is that you have to treat those infections. Those little lesions are pockets of infection, and you have to treat them. So the eating plan will help them so that they're not as active, but you still have to treat them. And, oh, the cookbook, Janet. So the cookbook, we are creating a cookbook. Chris Barton is the chef, and he was just here about a week ago. I think I shared last week on the Facebook Live that he was here, and he did a whole bunch of recipes up that I got to taste, and he's left it in our hands, the recipes, and we're supposed to do some testing. So right now, that's where we're at right now, is at the testing phases for the recipes, and I can tell you they are so amazingly good. And I just have to take the time away from work to practice making them. So the key is that it is quite a process to make a cookbook. I didn't know how much work it was, but we're hoping to have it ready by Christmas. And there will be a lot of very tasty recipes because Chris is a chef who trained in France. So he had a restaurant where every single meal looked like a piece of artwork, and every day he had a new menu. And the flavors are amazing. So he uses all kinds, like he doesn't just use dried herbs. He uses the whole herb and he crushes them, and he likes to use fresh herbs. And so it'll be really tasty. It'll be really amazing. And it's a healthy way of eating, but tasty and healthy. So it'll give you lots of inspiration. But we're hoping that before Christmas we will have it ready. So Rose, your son falls a lot. So the key is, Rose, that please watch my videos. Get him to watch my videos. Start implementing and take a different path. There is so much proof and evidence that your son is dealing with infections all the way into his central nervous system. And if he treats those, he's going to have a lot of recovery. He's going to get on with his life, which I know you want more than anything. Okay, here we go. All right, I think I've answered all the questions. One last check here. Yes, Janet, you'll love the cookbook. It'll be, I promise you, it'll be amazing. Okay, so that is it. You started with a scary little seizure. What's really interesting, Katherine, is that there is more and more evidence showing that, well, seizures are caused by infection, but we know that, for example, with people with epilepsy, very often they're finding, I think it's the pig whipworm, or not tapeworm, maybe it's the pig whipworm or roundworm, but that is very often it's the immature forms of these worms are getting into the brain, and sometimes they're causing tumors, sometimes they're just causing lesions, causing seizures. So that's what we're treating, right? And that's the key. So please start treating the infections, not just the eating plan. Super important. So again, if you are looking for more information about how to treat infections, watch my training, How to Recover from Multiple Sclerosis Naturally. It's not just for MS, but it's kind of, the title is that way because I talk to a lot of people that have MS. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. So this next week, I won't be here because I have other responsibilities, but the following week, I will be sharing, where is it here? How to curb your food addictions. How to curb your food addictions. And so for those of you that are not a wellness champion right now, that is a really big issue for everyone that has chronic disease, because those infections make you crave certain foods like a drug addiction, basically. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Keep doing your amazing work, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Take care and bye-bye for now.